Thank you, thank you. And Stephanie is jumping on too. Okay, guys. Sorry. We're using like a standing link, and then we got kicked off of that standing link. So we're using this link today, and we'll have to get a new standing link for future calls. So we'll give everyone just a few minutes to hop on. Make sure I got Stephanie the link. Yes. Yay, everyone is hopping on. Just make sure Stephanie can actually get on.
That took long enough. I made it.
Yay. All right, and there's Stephanie. All right, guys, and as you hop on, just make sure, if you can, to mute yourself. Make sure you're muted. All right, we're gonna get started again. So sorry about that. We have the standing link. We got kicked off, miscommunication with the links. So this one is totally gonna work, but I am super excited because tonight Stephanie Pollard is going to be talking about how she so Stephanie's been coaching. Can you guys mute yourselves? Control mute. Yay. Okay, so Stephanie has been coaching for just 2 years, like about to have her 2-year anniversary this month. And Stephanie, when the beginning of this year, started as a diamond coach, and she felt kind of, that struggle to build that team, like a lot of us feel, it's like, okay, I know I can get to diamond, but like, where am I going to find that team? Where am I going to find that momentum? When do I find like my tribe that everyone talks about? And Stephanie went from diamond to 3-star. There was no like diamond, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. It was like diamond, 3-star, all within like that 6-week qualification period. And I'm super excited for her to talk about how she did that, how she built that team momentum, and again, how she really went from that like diamond coach, where are my people, to like now 3-star and looking beyond that as they finish this year. So Stephanie, it is all yours.
Yay, I'm so excited. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. I was freaking out at first because I'm not going to lie. I was like, it would happen to me. Like I get kicked off on the one call I get to host. But anyways, I am so excited, you guys, to hop on here because one, I've hopped on every Slay Squad call since the beginning of this year. And I mean, seeing these top coaches in here and people that you idolize and you admire, and let's be real, like we all fangirl, right? So, fangirl in the beginning and all that. And so I am just honored to be able to hop on here, and I really want to make sure that I give you guys some tangible tips that you can probably, hopefully, take back and apply tonight, because you're going to be so fired up and you're going to be so excited from this call, and that is my big goal. So Holly, I can share my screen, right?
Let's hopefully.
Oh, it says it's disabled.
Alyssa, Alyssa's the host right now. Can you make Stephanie the host?
Hey, Boost, she's done. She's host.
Perfect. Thanks, Stephanie. Or thanks, Alyssa.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. You guys can see my screen. All right, cool deal. All right, so prepping for this call, I read over the title over and over, and I was like, gosh, team culture, momentum, and vision, right? And if anything, like we are all in a push season, probably 99.9% of us. If you're on this call, you are probably in a push season because we have 78 days left for this year. Yes, I counted 78 days. Okay. So now is the time where you get nitty gritty. We're no longer throwing noodles at the wall and praying that they stick, right? Now is the time when you sit down and you're like, okay, you look around and you say, what do I have in front of me? What are the numbers? What are my goals? How many weeks do I have left? How do I make this happen, right? Now is the time for you to strategize because you can see the finish line. And now's the time for us to plow through that finish line and not kind of mosey on through and say, well, I hope I end 2019 a certain way. I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to kind of keep doing the things, right? And I've heard if I just keep doing the things that like success will come. But here's the thing, the really successful people in this business, they've got strategy. They've got their tactics. They've got their tips. They've got a game plan because you don't go into a game without having a plan and a strategy for every single play if you play sports, okay? So I'm excited to chat with you guys about this because I'm ready to finish this year stronger than ever, and I'm sure you guys are too. So let's dig in. Okay, so the three things I want to talk about, and you guys can jot this down. I'm going to dig into the three things as we move forward, but it's really about culture, vision, and then momentum. And I numbered them because I really want it to be in that fashion. I want it to be in that order. And that was the order I did things, not even really realizing like that's what I was doing. And so some people will say, okay, well, you should probably have vision before you think about culture and like all the things. And yeah, I kind of feel like they go hand in hand, but ultimately I feel like culture dictates your vision and your vision goes in line with that. And it's just, and I'm going to dig into my why here in a second. I say that, but these are the three things I used to help my team achieve that goal of going from diamond to 3-star. And so let's see. Okay. Does culture only matter when you have a larger team? I'm going to be so honest with you guys. I thought that. I was like, it didn't even cross my mind. Like what culture, like what team? Like I was a diamond coach with a few business builders and a lot of discount coaches. And I looked around and I was like, I feel like I'm running this race by myself. What culture? Like why even think about that, right? So here's the thing. Do you think Starbucks started up and was like, okay, once we get 1,000 customers through the door, we're going to figure out our colors and our vibe and our furniture and how things are going to look and how we're going to market and advertise? No, they figured all that out from the get-go, right? That is something they knew. They knew the vibe they wanted to have as soon as the customer walked in, right? They knew their advertising plan. They knew their color scheme, how their furniture, all of that. They had a plan and they knew what that was going to look like. So why don't we do that as coaches? Why do we not think about before the team is there, right? Before we have hundreds of coaches underneath us, what type of culture do you want to create? So ask yourself that. Even if you have 4 discount coaches underneath you right now, think about it. When a new coach signs up with you, how do you want them to feel? What's the vibe that you want to give off on your team page, right? You guys, I started my team page and I asked my sister, I said, oh my gosh, I need somebody to add to this. Like, can I add you? Like you can't create a group without somebody else, right? And so I added her to it. But here's the thing, like you have to start before you ever feel like it. How many times have we heard coaches say, okay, act like that 15-star coach before you are her. Act like that elite coach. Act like that top coach, right? If that's what you want, you got to show up and be her before you even are her, okay? So I sat down, I thought about things because even though this was far from the case, okay, one of my biggest fears when I started this business was that I was going to be that kind of lone fish. I was afraid. I didn't know the first thing about running a business, right? Luckily, I joined an amazing team. I have a ridiculous amount of resources, but my fear before jumping in, I didn't know that. I was like, I don't know how it's going to be. But I discovered, and the one thing I fell in love with was the community and sisterhood of coaching. So I knew that when my team started to grow, anytime I added a new team member, like I want them to feel that. Like, yeah, I'm going to be a leader, but I'm doing the dang thing with them. Like I'm playing the game. I am in there and I want them to know that and I want them to feel that because I don't just want to be the coach on the sideline telling them and like calling out the plays, right? I want to help guide them to that finish line. And I feel like sometimes coaches get into a groove where they're like, okay, but I don't want to hand hold and I don't want to like, you know, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make it drink. All of those things, so true, preach, okay? But sometimes I feel like coaches use that as an excuse to not lead. It's easy to say, well, I don't want to hand hold and I don't want to do the things, but even though you provide the resources, for me, I wanted to be that leader that was in it with them. Yeah, maybe I hold their hand a little bit more during a push season, but I wanted that feeling. And I'm going to tell you how that gave us momentum as a team, okay? All right, so at this point in the game, what is in front of you right now? I think it's important because I remember the time when all of this happened. We were approaching Summit. It was going to be the second Summit I ever attended. And the year before that, I had attended as a Diamond coach. And corporate came out with this post. I'll never forget. It was a photo of the stadium. And it was like, May 2nd is the date, right? The date that determines the rank you're going to be recognized at Summit. And it really hit me because the pride in me was like, I can't show up at Summit as a Diamond coach again. There was nothing wrong with that. Diamond coach is amazing, but the hungry person in me, the competitive person in me, the person that I was like, I know I can do that, was like, I can't just settle. I can't just coast. So I looked around and I was like, you know what? I've got these 3 amazing business builders, right? They're kind of doing the things and they're kind of doing the actions and they're showing up, but why? Like, how do I make it happen, right? Sometimes I feel like we sit in front of our desk, we look at our back office and we're like, God, like it's there. How do we just get there? How do we create this momentum? How do I take the steps? How do I fire them up? How do I do the things? Because I have belief and I know they can do it, but how do I help them get there? Okay. So I looked around and I looked at my downline. I said, look, I've got 3 business builders. 2 of them have agreed that they want to go to Summit. We're going to do this. And I'm going to get real with them and I'm going to share my vision. I think sometimes, at least for me, in the beginning when I started coaching, I was afraid. I was afraid to share downfalls. I was afraid to share, you know, I felt like I had to have all the answers. Like I was supposed to be this unicorn doing the things and not have downfalls and just, you know, once I figured it out, then I told them about it, right? But that's not true. And I think I heard it, I can't remember, I wish I did remember, on a call one day. And she said she got on her team page and she poured out her heart. And that's what I did. I got real with my team. I got on my team page one day and I'll never forget, I was sitting downstairs at my dining room table, like literally toys all around me, you guys, daughter playing with toys underneath me. I got on my team page and I said, look, this is my vision and this is where I want to take this team, but I cannot do this without you. And I need to know the girls that are with me, I need to know you're ready to run because this is the goal. And I have without a doubt, I know you can do this with me. Are you ready? I called them out and I poured my heart out, you guys. I told them at this point, I didn't know how it was going to happen, right? I didn't have the steps. I didn't have the game plan. I didn't have a guideline book telling me the steps, but I knew I got myself to Diamond and I knew deep down that I could help them get there and they needed to know that I could help them do it. So April 12th was the date. And you guys, these dates blew my mind. I went back and actually scrolled through our Diamond thread and my team page of like when I actually went live on that video and them saying like, I'm ready to do this with you. Like, let's go. It was April 12th when I went live on my team page. April 21st, each of these coaches, all 3 of them, had only 4 active coaches. And not even all 4 were under them, okay? Like some of them were inactive. One of the coaches had like somebody who was kind of getting getting to Emerald, like they were underneath them, like not even their personally sponsored coaches, you guys, 4 coaches. And in 10 days, we went 3-star. Like that blew my mind. And if you are listening to this and you are like me and you've hopped on every Slay Squad call and you looked around and you said, well, they have this something special, or they have the working girls, or they have this or that. No, kick that to the curb right now and look at me and know that if I did this, you can too. There was nothing special. I didn't have a game plan. I didn't have a bulletproof plan, nothing. I didn't have anything special. Use somebody else's success as proof and evidence that you can do it too. Not envious, not jealousy, not any of that. It's simply, she did it. She's proof that it can happen, okay? So I shared my vision and I got real. So I determined my culture, right? I shared my vision. And here's the part that gets tricky, because I hear a lot of coaches say this recently, like on, in chat threads, I have coaches tell me this. Well, I'm really I feel like it's my goal. Like it's not my team goal. Like how do I make it about my team? I feel selfish and I feel like, all the things, right? And I think a lot of us have felt that way before. I have struggled in the beginning, like, okay, but elite, like that's a team goal. How do I make it, or it is a team goal and you get the title, right? But how do I make it a team goal? And so what you have to realize is this: individual goals fuel that team vision. Your title, whatever that might be, 3-star, premier, elite, 10-star, 15-star, that doesn't happen unless they hit their goal. So it's that foundation that gets you there. So that is the priority, not your goal, not your title. It's their goal. It's them hitting diamond, that me helping them hit that goal. That fueled my team vision. That fueled our 3-star goal. That fueled our desire to show up at Summit as a 3-star team. It was their desire to see their name under that diamond banner at Summit that fueled that team vision. Because oftentimes they're like, well, they have to want it. Yeah, they do have to want it. Yes, it's but you have to dig into their why, right? Because their why will ultimately fuel them getting to their individual goals, and that will ultimately fuel your team vision as a whole. And so I really sat down with each of my coaches one-on-one. I said, okay, what's your current goal, right? Is it a rank? Is it weekly income, right? And in this case, it was diamond. That was the goal. And my coaches told me, I'm getting myself to Summit, right? Whether they earned the ticket or not, they had to buy their plane ticket, right? I'm going to Summit. And when they found out that the trainings were kind of broken up based on rank and stuff like that, I straight up told them, I said, look, you are on a top team. If you show up at Summit as an Emerald coach, you are wasting your plane ticket because you have all of those resources already. If you want to make the most out of Summit, you need to show up at Summit as a diamond coach so you can be in that leadership track. So that was the apple, right? Like that was the goal. That was the, hey, if I'm getting there, I'm going as a diamond coach, right? I want that diamond ribbon thingamajig, whatever. I want the diamond medal. I want the diamond things. Like, yes. And that is what I want. And when they wanted it, boy, I poured gasoline on that fire. I was ready to go. And so I had to find out what motivated them, right? I think sometimes we motivate our coaches based on like what we're motivated by, but really think about I know Enneagrams are like huge right now. Like think about what motivates them. Is it the prizes? Is it the recognition? Is it trips? Is it income? For my girls, I said, I went through my team page when I was prepping for this and I saw what I did and I looked through that timeline. During that time, I had 3 Emerald coaches, right? There was never a time I had to think, okay, like what am I going to give them when I hit diamond? What am I going to give them when they hit star diamond? Like I didn't think about these things. So I was like, I'll worry about it when I get there. But I started doing the things. I started doing more things. I put together a graphic and was like, these are the gifts that you get, right? Show up at Summit and this is, these are the things. This is the recognition. We do this. I am giving y'all a retreat. Like you hit diamond, you hold for those 6 weeks. Like we are doing a diamond retreat. And they started, with the push, the income it came, it naturally came, right? And so discovering what really motivated them. But I did this one-on-one because I needed to hear their why. Ultimately, their dreams, and I needed to know what fueled them, because ultimately we know as coaches, we're going to get ridiculous amount of no's, right? More no's than we get yeses. And I needed to know their vision and their dreams that they wanted to come true. Because when they got those no's and they were down and they felt like they had called everybody under the sun and contacted every neighbor in their neighborhood, I needed them to think, I got to find somebody else, because my dream, my goals, they're worth it. And I needed to remind them of that. So I got down nitty gritty with them. I asked them the questions. So often we're just like, what's your why? Do the struggle web, do the color wheel, right? Sometimes they just don't know. The same way we lead in our conversations within a challenge group, and we say, well, you know, this is great, you're doing all these classes and spin classes, but what about your nutrition, right? We've discovered the questions to ask. You have to discover the questions to ask your coaches, right? So are you happy at your corporate job? What do you see happening in the future? If you don't have kids, what do you want in the future when you do have kids, right? Asking the right questions and helping them build that dream and that vision board, because they might not know. So we came up with a game plan, our timeline, roadmaps, one-on-one calls, all the accountability, right? I pulled out all the stops, because you guys, 10 days, that's not a lot, right? But we made it happen. But we had to have a strategy, and I'm going to show you guys what I did strategy-wise. So I created this graphic, and I think it was also from another call. I can't remember who hosted, but she said she put this in her banner. So I didn't put it as my team banner, but I did have a chat thread with my girls, and I updated this, you guys, no joke, probably every single day. Every time they had a sign up, they got a check mark. And visually, that did something. That built our momentum. Because here's the thing, in a chat thread of 4 people, right, my 3 girls and me, it was like, hey, like, we celebrated every win. This girl got a sign up. Oh my gosh, congrats. What did you do? How was that conversation like? We did it together. And then it got to the point where it was like, dang, like, our goal is 3-star. Like, I got to hold up my end of the bargain. Like, I got to show up. Like, I got to do the things. I got to do more invites. And, you know, one of my girls, Kim, she was like posting photos of her hiding out in her car after she got off work because she didn't want to go inside to send more invites, right? And we talked about it. And my girls, like, when we talk about culture, right, my girls, we love GIFs, and we love having fun, and we love doing TikToks, and we love doing the things, and we really got to know each other, you guys. When I was scrolling that feed, that thread, our chat thread, I was excited again. Like, I felt that fire and that passion that they had, and that's what makes this business fun. I heard coach, like, I over and over, when I had no business builders, I heard top coaches say that all the time. Business gets fun when you find the workers. Business gets fun, right? And I was like, well, where are the workers? Because I'm like going through the bushes and I'm not finding anybody, right? But here's the thing. Sometimes it takes a little bit of help to breed them. It takes a little bit of help and a little bit of love to help them see their potential. So don't give up, okay? And I update this every single day. This is what built our momentum, right? I updated, I put the date on here, like, and every single check mark, you guys, when I tell you it's not just a check mark, when we got down to like 3 or 4 days left, it was named. When I had one-on-one calls with my girls, it was like, hey, who did you have conversations with? What's her name? I'm putting her in this bubble. How close is she? Where is the conversation at? Did you send a share card already? What are her objections, right? We're working through things like one-on-one. I am in it, you guys. When I tell you I was playing the game with them, I was there. And the other thing I did, when I tell you guys that in the beginning, I, felt like I couldn't share my obstacles and stuff, maybe I wasn't building another diamond alongside them, but I was still doing the actions. I started to share my conversations. Literally copy and pasted my conversations of, hey, this is an invite I just sent. Here was the follow-up, like, take it if you will type of thing. But I started to share. I started to show them, instead of just saying, I'm sending follow-ups, I'm sending invites, right? They got to see how I was doing it, how my conversations were going. And it began, like, it started this shift where I noticed my coaches were more confident in their talk with prospects and stuff. They were more confident, and they felt like they had more tools, and they were finding their voice, and they saw that it wasn't just a script, some black and white, no feeling script. You know, for me, my people don't really respond to that. I tried the cold invites, like straight up colds, and that's just not my vibe. Okay. Those aren't my people, and that's okay. But they saw the conversations I was having and the downfalls. Like I shared the no's, I shared the ghosts, I shared the, hey, check this out. I sent like 5 messages, but they're still watching my stories every day. So I just sent another one, right? And I shared that with them because they needed to know and see that I was doing it too. So the 3 things I want to talk about that happened: the Diamond team-wide push, the strategy behind all of it, and the team accountability. These things combined, it's what created that culture, and that's what fueled my team. And when that momentum happens, that fire happens, then you're excited, then you're having fun, and then magical things begin to happen, you guys. Like I feel like sometimes it's crazy and it blows my mind, but we were talking like affirmations in our chat threads. We were talking belief into one another. Like we encouraged one another even on bad days, and we checked on each other, and we were like, girlfriend, you can do this, right? Like after one diamond hit, she was encouraging the rest of the girls. She was still in there. She was still doing the things. And sometimes the difference between this and I feel like the diamond pushes that we do so often, it's great for you to plug your girls into a big diamond push spread, right? I hit diamond in a big diamond push spread. The incentives are amazing. The trainings are bar none, but it still kind of feels like you're in it alone sometimes, especially if you're joining and you're in a downline, right? And you are just plugging 1 or 2 girls in there. You're checking up on them maybe once a week. You're like, hey, how's it going? Maybe halfway through, we got 2 weeks. Where are you at with the diamond push, right? Like, yeah, that's one way to do it. But when you're in a push season and you're ready to make things happen, I got with my team and we did it together, right? They were actually, 2 of the girls were in the diamond bat that I was in at that time too. Like we were doing it, but we were doing our own thing. We were doing our own culture. Like, I mean, we did it how it worked for us is what I'm saying, you guys. Like sometimes it feels alone, but when you do it together as a team, crazy, crazy things happen. And we rode that momentum, and it really shifted my team and just that vibe that we had. And so here's a quote that I found, and I'm just going to wrap up with this. It takes a leader to create the momentum, right? But it takes a vision to direct that momentum. It takes massive action to build on that momentum, and it takes self-discipline to sustain that momentum. But momentum is ultimately that bridge that between your vision and your results. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. This is literally, I've had so many people be like, well, how did you do it? How did you motivate? You know, all the questions like, tell me how you did it. Like, I feel like I look at the screen all the time. I look at coaches. I'm like, tell me how you did it, because I want to do it. And so literally, you guys, this is exactly what I did. And I'm sure you've heard it in one way, shape, or form, but maybe if you're like me, you've heard the same thing 10 million times, but somebody says it one way and it totally clicks for you. And I have not looked at this chat thread, but thank you, Holly, for having me on this call. I hope it was helpful. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. I loved it. You guys feel free to ask her questions. And I do think like it is simple. And you do, Stephanie talks a lot about motivating, right? And so what motivates Stephanie's coaches may not be what motivates your coaches. You know, you need to find, and what's funny is you find that like tribe of people that you then, that's unhealthy. You guys mute yourself when you hop on. When you find your tribe, it is really likely that those people will all be motivated by the same thing, right? So Stephanie was able to motivate her coaches by and create that small group too. I think that small, sorry guys, I think that small group is really what made a difference too. Like Stephanie said, utilize the really big pushes and resources, but know that the magic is going to happen in the smaller groups for sure. So, sorry guys. There we go. Okay. Oh,
One is that I'm trying to lose weight so I can be around for my family. So
that person really wants to be unmuted, apparently.
Be around for you.
So, Stephanie, one question was, do you include your discount coaches in your team page or just your business builders?
Builders. Because, yeah, if they're not building a business, they probably don't care about the trainings and stuff that I'm putting in there. I'm trying to see what other questions there were. Friday today because her vision is so huge. Girlfriend, share that vision with your team. Here's the thing, right? There is so much you can do in this business that you can build, right? Like to 1-star, maybe 2-star, and open up that business center. You know, if you've got a sister, mom, dad, brother, dog, whatever. But ultimately, there's only so far you can go, right? I'm not going to get to 15-star by myself. Like that's not happening. But I saw potential in my coaches, and it took fire and passion for me to help bring that to fruition. Because I could very much so have waited and just, you know, see what would happen. And on their own, they'll eventually get to diamond and all the things. But I decided to take charge. I decided to take ownership that I was the leader of that team. And I want them to have pride to say, hey, I am on a 3-star team or whatever, a 5-star team, 10-star team. Like I want them to have a sense of pride in their business too. And if they're telling me they have these goals, then we're going to chase them together. And sometimes it just takes a lot of confidence from you. So soak up that PD, girl.
That's most of the questions. I'm looking at the questions now. Yeah, guys, you've got to believe in yourself too, right? Like, and I mean, Stephanie just said it, right? It's about, they need to tell you their goals, but then you also need to create that team vision for them. So you need to know what that is. You need to know what you're pushing for, and you have to believe you're going to hit it. You can't just say, oh, we're going to be 5-star by the end of the year, right? And then expect that to happen. Like, how is that going to happen? You're going to work one-on-one with them. And I think that's where the graphic that Stephanie posted is really helpful too. Like, here's a very clear way that we're going to get to this goal. And every single day that we get closer, we can visually see this, right? And I think that is helpful in a world where we are like, yeah, more personal development, more this, more that. Like, no, here's the tangible. Here's our roadmap. Let's do this. So I love that.
I think built our momentum. It created the momentum because visually we could see we were getting closer and closer and closer. And then when we could fill names in the spots that didn't have check marks, it was so fun to see those names turn into a check mark. Like, it sounds so silly, you guys. It's just check marks, right? And a graphic that I whipped up, but like it created what my team need to see, like visually. Because you have to create that momentum, you guys. You do. Somebody said on here, and I definitely wanted to keep this call short. Yes, I'd be happy to share the slides. I can share the checkmark graphic if you guys want that. There was something on here. Somebody said, oh, I got me because I'm currently involved. We said, somebody on here said, it's not about income to me. I'm currently an emerald, all the things. So And that to me is enough success, and people respect that. Yes. So I will say one last thing. When I started coaching, and this is kind of off topic, but I struggled with talking about coaching because I was not somebody that needed the income. I hopped on and I looked around. I said, gosh, all these top coaches have like these incredible stories, and they all deal with income, or that they were in this spot and like this saved them financially and like all the things, right? And I'm not saying I don't want financial freedom. That is a big goal of mine. But when I started this business, like it wasn't about the income. And I was like, well, if I can help a few people, cool. If not, I'm getting the best shape of my life type thing, right? But when I fell in love with coaching, and I started to fall in love with what I was able to do and what it was providing in my life outside of income, I did have to ask myself, what do I love about coaching? What is it that I want to create in addition, right? Like all the extra things. And so I actually attract a lot of people that don't need the income, right? But they want the extra things in life. And I had to be okay with talking about coaching from that aspect, because that's what's true to me. And I thought at first it would be selfish and that people would judge me for talking about coaching in a way of like, oh, she's, ungrateful for what she is in her life. Like I was afraid of judgment, right? Like all the little things that we get into our head about, but your story is your story and people will respect that. You are 100% right. So talk about coaching in a way that's important to you, and talk about it in a way of like how it fills your fire. Like simply, however it is what it is. And that is 100% okay. Thank you, you guys. Any tips on helping someone who says they want it and you're doing your part, but you can't get them to make progress, even after you've casted vision, etc., multiple times? Oh, that's tough, right? Because I think a lot of us in this business are like, oh, we do all the things, but they're not doing anything. So, if I did all that and my team was still like not going anywhere, like those 3 girls were like not doing anything, right? Maybe sent invites one day out of the week and they were like not doing a thing, right? At some point, you have to just look outside of that. You just have to recruit more. Because at the end of the day, it is like, who wants it will run with you, right? You guys, like I told somebody else this earlier. I said, you can't say, it's so true when people say you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and the wrong person or the right, well, whatever, you guys get what I'm saying. It's so late. Because I, no joke, you guys, sent the same invite to this girl. She got the same email. She got the same follow-up. She answered an ad. She watched, I've known her for 2 days. She signed up. Within that hour, she's already signed somebody else up. I didn't do anything different. She saw the same ad. She got the same email. She got the same follow-up. If they want it, they're going to get it. And if you're looking around on your team and you feel like you're dragging people, shift your focus. Let them know you're there and you need to hustle like a mad person to recruit. I love my girls, but I also know that I need a lot more than 3 to go places. So I'm recruiting like a mad person too. So bless and release, just like you do with challengers. I mean, not release, they're still on your team, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, that's all.
Yay. Thank you, Stephanie. This was amazing. I know some people were saying they had issues getting on, so we'll definitely post this recording. Go like feel empowered that you guys have control, that like Stephanie said, we still have like 78 days, 75 days. I mean, you still have enough time to create that vision, cast it to your team, and make things happen. I mean, look what Stephanie did in just a few weeks, right? So know that, go look at your downline, go look at your workers, cast the vision, and make things happen. And those of you pushing for Star Diamond, what is it? November 21st. That is when you have to enter qualification for the end of the year. So you have longer than Stephanie did when she went Diamond to 3-star, still left to do this, to nail this, and to help your girls meet their goals too. So, I think sometimes we get in our head and we start feeling like these are our goals we're pushing for. But like Stephanie said, this was about them. As a leader, Your job's to help your girls see success. And that's what Stephanie did. She helped her girls see success. And in the end, that helped her team see success. And everyone's business grew. So, yay. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Stephanie. This was so good. Thank you. Bye, guys.